Hello and welcome to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. Welcome to this week's episode. I know it's late. I did tell you guys it was going to be late last week though, so I don't feel that bad about it. But I am currently trying to do some things before I have so much to talk about. This week I'm going to be talking more about myself, not really pop culture stuff, because there hasn't been a lot of pop culture stuff going on lately, at least not that I've seen. But that's a whole complicated like side thing that like I don't really see what's going on pop culture wise anymore because my timeline is so filled with like WNBA stuff, and I don't really want this podcast to be about that because actually that is a part of my content that is becoming a bit frustrating for me. I actually ended up, and like I said, I'm gonna be doing the close too, so I'm not gonna be like right here in the moment. But anyways, for visual listeners, you guys are gonna be seeing me clean up, and I don't want y'all to think I'm dirty. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and address this because y'all know I had that comment from that girl that one day who was like, "You need to clean your room up." Oh, I still can't believe she said that shit to me. But you know what? It's okay because this is a separate situation. The room, I actually cleaned the room before I got the clothes out the closet. So yeah, but anyways, honestly, this week has been, or really last week has been really a lot emotionally. Y'all know I had that mental breakdown the week before then, so it was okay. But last week, and on Friday was my last day at work, working with the children. If you don't know, I worked in youth development, which I did not go to school for. I fell into that job, and I fear that I'm going to be falling into my next job, which is not particularly like exciting for me. Like, at the same time that I feel like we all have something to learn and grow from like random things and like spontaneous things that we do in life, I also kind of find it a little bit annoying that like I can't just like get a job in the field that I went to school for, or and that's just like kind of like an annoying thing that I think a lot of people are going through right now. Like, a job is a job, like it is what it is, but I would really like to enjoy my job. But like, I know that you're not going to love your job all of the time, but at the same time that you're not going to love your job all the time, it's also like when I'm not enjoying like certain aspects of it, I at least want to be doing something that I'm passionate about and I care about. And not to say that I don't care about like youth development. I actually have like a little bit more of an interest in it now that I've experienced it. But at the same time, that's not really like it's not really like a goal that I have gone into my life wanting to pursue. And like I said, I've learned a lot from these kids, which I'm actually really sad that that's over a little bit because, like those kids have been in my life for the past few months. And even like the week before the last week, they didn't come to the program because, they were out of school and they were just trying to like hang out and enjoy themselves. And it was just like low key sad because I was like, dang, like this is really, I was like, I don't know if they're coming like the final week. Like might never see them again. And it was becoming very real that this is going to be something that goes away soon. And that kind of sucked. And I tried not to really think about it. And I didn't really. And on the last day, I did get like a little emotional. I didn't cry. I never cried. I thought I was going to cry, but I didn't. But it's just like, wow, like I play like a little role, like a very tiny role in these kids' lives, and it's just kind of it. And I think that's really crazy, and it's a lot to unpack. But at the same time, I learned so much from like my teachers, and I actually just got done making a post about that. Somebody had commented because I actually ended up like I wanted to post about Happy Pride Month on my TikTok, and I got shockingly nervous about it because while I'm not ashamed of my sexuality or anything, it was just like, oh, I finally hit 10,000 followers on TikTok. Yay, yay, everybody clap for me. Yes, yes. You guys know it was a goal for me, and I know that TikTok probably gonna come to a close soon, but that was a really big goal for me, and I've really worked really hard over the past like 4 years to build up that community. Like, it was so nerve-wracking at the beginning to just post on TikTok, and kind of embarrassing, and even sometimes still is a little embarrassing, but at the same time, I love doing it. I love talking to people on the internet and communicating with them, and it's so fun for me. But anyways, like I was saying, somebody had commented and they were talking about oh, like what's your age bracket, cuz you look old and young. And I don't take that as like anything bad. Like I take it as a compliment. I honestly found the comment very funny because I really love that. I've spent so much of my life around older people and so many, and I've talked about this before, but my teachers from school when I was in like middle and high school. What is that? Oh, it's a hat. Sorry. But I have learned so much from my teachers who are in my life. Like my third grade teacher, she literally basically went through my childhood with me, and I think that's really fun. I remember she got me through some hard times. She did. She did. I had really low self-esteem in high school, and she always gave me really great advice and just did a lot for me, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I even had like other amazing teachers that I would go and hang out and talk to after school. Like before the bus came, I would go to my favorite teachers' classrooms and I would just talk to them real quick. And, I'd be like, oh, how's your day? And we would just talk about things and they would give me advice. And a lot of those teachers believed in me at a time when I couldn't and didn't. And that has meant like so much to me. And that's why I think teachers are so important and they deserve to be paid so much more, is because they really impact people's lives and they've impacted and changed mine. And when I was like, and even like now, still sometimes I think about becoming a teacher or even like a substitute teacher. But, anyways, they really don't get paid a lot. And I hate that that's becoming like a dying profession in a way, because a lot of people, it's not the kids, but it's like the administration. And I even like remember hearing that from teachers when I was in school. So now, like, still in a pandemic, but kind of sort of post pandemic, hearing these teachers still echoing those same sentiments, but also like how much the education system has been affected over the past few years and I really don't think that we talk enough about how a lot of people who are on education boards have never been teachers or anything like that, but I digress. And a lot of people are making decisions about education who have never been in it, and it's just really crazy concept to think about. But I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think that's interesting. Also, I want you guys to know, I usually sit in a chair, but this stool, I'm leaning on it right here. I use it as a table sometimes. Anyways, but like I said, these teachers impact children's lives all the time. And I cannot stress the importance of public education and public schools and stuff like that. And this has just been like a really interesting time for me, a lot of time of reflection. And so I really do want to make sure that I use like whatever small platform. Sorry, the stool be squeaking. But I really do like to use my platform that's on TikTok now, and even here to a certain extent, because I have way more subscribers than I did before. I had like 100 like a couple of months ago, and that was just from me posting vlogs in high school. And so now kind of having a little bit of a following from the Girls Like Hoops podcast, which is doing, again, shockingly well. Who knew? I don't have that many video views this week for like Friday's episode, but the people who listen on Spotify, like, or I don't know, they don't all listen on Spotify, they listen on Apple Podcasts and stuff like that, but the listeners are listening, and I love that and appreciate that. And I don't know, like, at the same time that like I'm like I don't have a job anymore and I'm about to be searching and looking for one, it's like so many other things are happening in other parts of my life that I've always like dreamed of happening, and or not really dreamed of, hoped for would happen. And it's at the same time that it's so great, I also feel like I cannot take a second to like celebrate that. And I really want to, because it takes a lot to get 10,000 followers on TikTok. Like, it takes a lot to even get 100 subscribers on YouTube. It takes a lot to even get the 200, the little over 200 that I have now. And I'm so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful to people who are listening or watching my content. It means a lot to me. And again, like I said, I know 20,000 people aren't going to sit here and watch this podcast. This is more of like a passion project for me, but I love it so much. And I'm so appreciative of the people who support it and listen to it. And I'm just really happy with like where life is right now. Like, I know that, like I've said on this podcast for a few months now, it's been a really shit start to the year. But when I think about all of the things that I've learned so far this year, again, so grateful. And I talked about gratitude last week. And I don't want to like overload on that, but I really am just, there's not enough words to really describe how thankful and grateful I am for the people who have been in my life and who have changed my life, but also to people who are listening to or watching my content on the internet somehow, some way. It really means a lot to me. And so if you're watching this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will never not be grateful for it. Like, I will say something that I'm struggling with. I love how I'm not cleaning. Anyways, I have like, I'm so grateful for my little 10,000 followers. At the same time, it doesn't come with other parts of things. Like, it doesn't come without, you know, people getting nasty in the comments. But at the same time, it's like, you know, the good comes with the bad in terms of, you know, you get more eyes on you and you get more followers. And that also means you get more people who are like just loud about not agreeing with you or trying to distract from other things. And yeah, I think that this is going to be a really interesting journey for me because I am learning that there are some days where I'm like, I don't care about the comments and I'm going to like stay away from them. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I enjoy it and because I love it. And then there are also some days where the frustration of that can be louder than my like drive to do this. And, you know, I think it just comes with it. Like, I think it's going to be something that I have to work on and work through. And I'm really going to be excited for, I'm actually really happy about the whole patience thing that I've learned from my youth development job. I think it's allowed me to really, you know, not be a hothead and like react in the moment, which is something that I have done like all of my life. Like, people talk about like their what are their like their signs and stuff, you know, like I'm an Aries, so I'm just naturally a lot of energy and I am a hothead. I react quickly, I'm impulsive, and that is something that I have been unlearning for many years now. And I think that I'm getting a lot better at it, first of all. And also, you know, just like learning from other people's situations, that I'm a big believer that you don't have to go through everything in your life to learn something from it. I think you can learn from other people's mistakes. And that has been something that I've seen, especially when last week with the Fanita stuff. I don't know if you, who's listening to this podcast, if it's the Black people, you hopefully you know who I'm talking about. But if you don't and you're not on that side of TikTok at all, but there's this Black content creator and she's been going through a whole thing that I'm not going to get into. But you know, and even like Doja Cat has said this before, like, you know, they go and they say like, oh, I hate you guys. Like, I hate y'all. And I get it. I think that that's a very in the moment thing to feel like, and that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. And I hope that's never me. I hope I never come on the internet and say something like that because I wouldn't mean it, one. But two, you never bite the hand that feeds you. You never do that. And you can see like the backlash and I've seen the backlash that Doja Cat got from that comment, even though it's just difficult because the stuff that she was experiencing, I think sometimes it's easy. Like, it was just a general statement. I don't think that she meant like she actually hates everybody. And she's also like a slightly like dramatized artist. So obviously I don't think that she meant that. I do think that, you know, she understands how important her fans are and stuff, but it's like a gray area thing where it's like that must be a really hard job to have so many eyes on you, and basically you can never really do anything right in everybody's eyes. And it's like if you do something that feels right to you, it may not be enough for other people. And sometimes if you don't say anything at all, people are gonna hound you for not speaking up. People like, it's just one of those like that for them, like being like influencers or content creators and like being celebrities, like that is just wow. That is really crazy. That is really crazy because there is gray area there. I'm just really loving that part of life right now. Like, I am seeing so much nuance and gray area in so much of our lives, and I'm eating it up. Y'all know I eat that up. I eat the gray area up bad. Like, this has just been so fun for me. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there was other things I wanted to say. This is a very short episode. I don't want to bore you guys with stuff, but I was going to come on here and drink some wine and yap, and I'm probably going to do that later this week because I did buy the wine already. But it's really early in the day, actually, because I'm recording this randomly because I don't have anything else to do. It's like Monday, and it's 5:47 p.m., and y'all know I never record during the day. But it's that time, and like it's too early to be drinking at a time like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have things to do. I have to pack these clothes up. Like, I have things to do, and I can't just be out here wilding. But anyways, let's talk about J-Lo for a second. She's really the only pop culture news that I've really seen, and we're gonna get into Atlanta and Megan Thee Stallion and stuff. But J-Lo canceling them damn tour dates. It's not crazy. It's not, because we knew that. We knew those tickets weren't selling, but I'm not gonna lie. The same way I told you, I'd be feeling bad for that lady sometimes, because there is a certain aspect of, like, she might just be an intense person. Like, does she have to be like mean and like talk down to other people? Like, no. But also on the other side of that gray area of like, she might just be a very intense person, and because people sometimes don't take her seriously, like, she comes off that way, and it's kind of hardened her. And I think about that. I wonder how people view her musically has affected her. Also, guys, I found out why my throat been swelling up. Y'all, why I'm allergic to outside. Oh my God. I need a spinal tap or something. Cause I went outside and was like shooting basketball a little bit, which I haven't done, which I don't do in the winter because it'd be cold outside. And we have an outside hoop. So girl, what do I look like? And we don't have one of them whack hoops. Okay. I don't want y'all to think we got one of them little ones that you gotta, that be deflating and bending back. We didn't got one of them with the wheels on it. We ain't got that. My father's a serious man, and he laid down a little concrete slab, okay, and he put that little hoop up for us years ago. We've had two, because one time some people came and cut down some trees and it landed on it, and it was a whole thing. But anyways, and then he got this other one, and we have just been shooting hoops on that thing for many of years. And I actually bought a new net last year and a new ball. That was last year though. Playing outside, like playing on like your driveway, insane. And it's also unleveled, but I be having the time of my life out there. You know what I'm saying? It's been hot as hell though. I'm really concerned about this summer because it's only June 3rd and it's hot as hell. It's hot as hell. Like, actually, our AC went out the other day, which I think I came on here and mentioned, but our AC went out, and I was like, girl, I'm not coming home. I'm not doing that. I'm not. And so I hung out with my friend, and that was really fun. But yeah, anyways, back to J-Lo. I kind of feel bad that she had to cut the tour just because she had put so much money into like the movie aspect of her album, and then also like the album itself. And again, I think that just comes down to like, people don't really take her seriously, which I find so unfortunate, but also, you know, life be lifing, karma be karming, and life be balancing. And unfortunately, I think sometimes things just come back at you, but I really do feel bad, but at the same time, I am glad that she like believes in herself and in her heart, in her art so much that she's willing to put money behind it. I think they said she put like 10 million, 20 million, something like that, into making that little visual movie that she did on Amazon Prime. And that is really crazy to me. Like, to be able to drop that much money on yourself and on your dream and believing in yourself. I'm not going to lie. There's like a little bit of something in there that's inspirational. It's not a lot. J-Lo is not one that inspires all or many, but I think believing in yourself and taking that risk to put that much money behind yourself and, bet on you, that takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of effort. and I can't even be mad at the girl for real. Next up, we're going to talk about Megan Thee Stallion's album. And really low key, I live in the Georgia area. Like, I live like, I don't even know how many miles outside of Atlanta, but I went to school in Atlanta and I would make that little commute. But apparently there's been like a water problem, which I am not gonna lie, I don't really watch the news, so I don't really know too much about that. But apparently there's been just water gushing out. You know what I'm saying? And the people of Atlanta have been obviously upset because they haven't had water. And so it ended up affecting the Megan Thee Stallion show. And they ended up like telling her she couldn't perform and stuff. And so people who have like traveled here to watch her, or even like people who, just took the time out their day after work to come to the show and then they didn't get like their product. People are talking about voting the people of Atlanta out. And I think this is just on time. This is just on time because we need to make some changes in these political spheres. And it's so interesting that I was actually down at the Chili's with our friend Mary, a good friend of the podcast. She's been on a couple times. And I was sitting there at the Chili's and we were catching up on life. And I was like, girl, so who are we voting for? Serious question. Because here's the thing. I have so many thoughts. I have already said that I don't love our candidates. I've expressed that. But it's like as the weeks go on, as they drag on and the closer we get to election, but just not quite close enough, it's just really like a moral thing and an ethics thing at this point of like choosing the lesser of two evils isn't really a thing. Like both of these two men are evil at the same time. It's like humanitarian wise, I think for me, Joe Biden is the better of the two evils. At the same time, though, that man has not done everything perfectly, and the way that he's handled the genocide in Palestine is just, I don't have words for it anymore. And it's just all very frustrating, and I wish that there was a better option. I wish that there was a better way. I wish that there was better out there. I wish that we could all come together and, I hate to say it, put our differences aside. You know what I'm saying? And really just stop letting headlines and like half stories polarize and divide us as much as we do. But in the same breath of saying that, I know that I was telling my dad this the other day, I know that there are a lot of people out there who don't go and seek out more information. People read headlines and maybe don't read the article. Or maybe they read the article and the article is not telling the entirety of the story. It's telling the story of what the publication wants it to tell. And that splits hairs, causes problems, gets people enraged and upset. And this is more so where I think the importance of like emotional intelligence comes into it, because I think that you to a certain extent, like the media knows that it can play on that because they know that people aren't going to go and seek out more information on these stories or on these topics, and they make a living upsetting people and enraging them. And because of, and like you're just seeing like how all of this is connected, because the education system, public education system, is really bad. Like really, ever since when they took that phonics out of school, we were doomed. When George Bush did that No Child Left Behind act, we've been doomed ever since. Like, and now it's like they're trying to fix it and correct it, and it's like so much damage has already been done over the past few years to like later parts of my generation, Gen Z, but also even to the now generation, like Gen Alpha and stuff. And it just sucks. Like I was really teaching my like the kids that I was working with like the importance of going and looking for your own information. Like I was teaching them how to use the dictionary and how to use dictionary.com and that words have multiple meanings and talking to them about the literacy crisis and what it means to be illiterate and what it means to be literate and how important it is to do work over the summer so that you can stay up to date on stuff. And I just I wish that there was like more that I could do there, but there's not. Like there's nothing more that I can do than like come on here and express the importance of this election, but not only that, but express the importance of being in your kids' lives and asking them what they learned at school today. A lot of parents don't ask their kids what they learned in school today. And I really hate that for them. I hate that for the kids. I hate that for the parents. Like, I get it. You had a rough day, but girl, you've got to ask what them kids are learning in school. You've got to ask. You've got to get some workbooks for your kids to work on stuff and stay sharp because you don't go to school and flex some muscles a little bit, like flex your brain a little bit. Like you lose it. You do. And a lot of these teachers are trying to make up for stuff that kids didn't learn or didn't fully understand the grade before to the point, and they don't have time to do that. Like there's barely enough time to get through the curriculum already. And that's why you really are seeing a lot. And even like administrators pushing kids on to the next level when they're not ready to they're not ready for that yet is a big problem. I grew up at a time where people was holding people back, okay? They was holding people back in second grade. They said, you stay right here, actually. You stay right here. And now you're just not seeing that anymore. And like I've said before, like 2 episodes ago, like this is being done purposefully. Like the free schooling, the public schooling looks the way it does because they know that if they can affect the mass public, like yeah, the general public from being able to understand the importance of seeking out your own stuff and them not knowing how to read and affecting their ability to read and comprehend the words, it's easier to strip rights from people who don't understand that stuff, right? And I just hate that this is like such a blatant thing that we all see happening. And at the same time, there's also like not a ton that a lot of us can do about it. Like, I don't have kids. So what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do about that? Like, this comes down to like the parents as much as it comes down to the people who are on the education boards and in education systems. Like it's just damn, we're living in scary ass times, bro. Like I've been talking about my WNBA stuff and I fear I'm gonna have to bring some of my drama over here because I'm just getting so frustrated with how people just are letting race be such a dividing factor, and it's really just because people are afraid to talk about race, and it just gets people so emotional and like upset and aggressive. And it's not everybody, but it's definitely a lot of people who just aren't able to have this conversation. And I think it's just because people are afraid to be wrong, and they let their fear of being wrong get in the way of them opening their eyes or opening their minds to new perspectives and to new experiences and new things. And I just really hate that for people. Like, I really do. And I think low key, that's why I'm such a big advocate of like going to school or caring about school, or even if you don't go to college or something, even just making sure that you're like reading books and you're staying up to date on stuff, because there's so much that you can learn outside of school by just doing research on your own and Googling stuff and really like, like reading multiple articles about something before decide your stance on things and listening to multiple people's perspectives of things. And I'm just so concerned about these kids because they're not going to be able to do that. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard people describe like sight words to you and what that looks like and how that's different from sounding out words and phonics. And really like my friend described it to me like they have the kids looking at the words around the word that they're trying to figure out, and instead of like sounding it out, they just guess what the word is and then just try to guess what's going on in the reading or whatever. And why are we guessing? I'm gonna need to do more research on that. I'm gonna need to do more research on that, and I'm gonna come back to y'all with a full-fledged response. But having kids guess words based on the words around it, what are we guessing for? The words are right there. We don't need to be guessing words. We don't need to be doing that. We don't need to be doing that. If I ever have kids, which the jury is all 80% out on that. Really 75%. Let me not do much. 75%. Them kids are gonna be on Hooked on Phonics. I'm sorry. Them kids, because I was on Hooked on Phonics, and I used to tell y'all, I used to be crying on the couch. My mama would pull that yellow book out, that yellow Hooked on Phonics book out, and I would have my little tape recorder, because they were on tapes. And my mom had this little like tape. It was like a blue thing. It was like a kid's thing. And I would just tote it around, and I had my little tapes, like the little square tapes, and I would put them in my little listening tape thing, and I would just listen, and it had a little mic on it too. So sometimes I'd be singing on my little thing, I'd be singing on my little thing. Anyways, but I would sit there and I would play my tapes, and I would sit there with my little Hooked on Phonics book and my little flip through tablet, and I would be cat, bat, rat, and I would just be sitting there in tears and shambles, because I couldn't get it. I was really struggling. I was in there, a dog, frog, I was in there in shambles, crying on that couch, like, I just don't get it. And my mama said, girl, you'll get it, keep going, push through. Girl, I was miserable out there. I was miserable. So grateful to my mother for pushing that phonics on me, but damn. Y'all, it was like I done went to school, and now I'm sitting on the couch crying. This is not the vibe. I got tears in my eyes. I couldn't even see the little flip book no more. And she'd be started over, and we'd take it right back to the top. Mind you, old girl would be cooking dinner in the kitchen, and she'd be, run it back, put the tape on again, flip it back, and I was miserable. Wow. She was like, you don't keep doing it till you got it. And over the summer, she would get us a little handwriting books, and girl, I would be in there. I'd be working on my handwriting because she said it was sloppy and I need to tighten up. And I was like, okay, girl, and I did. And she'd give us a little math books, a little multiplication and the division and all the stuff. Wow, that was a mother. That was a mother for real. And she had even a little book in the car that I would use, and she'd put the tape in, and she'd be like, here, work on your vowels. And she just passed me a little book, and I'd be, man, do I have to? And she, yes. Okay, girl. And she put tape on, and I'd be A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, and we'd take it back to the top. That was a dedicated woman. She really was. I was a dedicated woman, bad. I love my mother. Wow. Sometimes we have beef, but I'm grateful for what she's done for me. Wow. Sometimes I think about that, and like I'll ask my parents, like, wow, like who knew? I have a picture of me from like when I graduated that my mom had bought, and it's like a little thing, like a little like nightstand, like picture frame thing. And sometimes I look at it and I'm just like, wow, like guys, who would have thought? You guys really got me there. Like, wow. It must be really nice for y'all. And I'm just really happy I could do that for them. I am. Like, they've done so much for me. I'm glad I could make them proud by, finishing college and going to school. And they always pushed how important education was for me. And I'm just, because they didn't, go finish their college. And they just always made sure that I knew how important it was. And they really pushed it. And I'm really happy that they did, because I think I've become a very well-rounded person. And I'm proud of myself. And I think I never thought that I would be proud of myself. I'm not proud of myself every day, but I'm proud of myself most days. And I never thought that at this age I would be at that point of being able to be like, I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of the person that I'm becoming. And obviously I'm not everything that I want to be yet, but I'm excited for who I'm becoming, and I'm proud of who I'm becoming. And I hope that my only hope in like all of this, whether it's me doing music and pursuing that, or continuing to make content on the internet, or if it's just me like really putting my head down and putting in work at a corporate job or something, or starting my own company at some point. I hope that I always stay like this, like being grateful for the things that I've experienced, and being willing to know that, and like just knowing that I don't know everything, and never allowing my ego to be bigger than myself, I guess would be what the phrase is. I don't really know. But just never really allowing my ego to become the biggest part of me and all of that. And like I said, this is just a really quick episode that I wanted to come on here and make, but I hope that I stay in my humble era. Stay humble, because life is always humbling me, so I don't think that I'll ever not be humble. I think there, obviously, like I've said before, there's a time to celebrate things, and we definitely should celebrate as much, like as many of our successes and achievements as we can, because I feel like a lot of times we don't celebrate those things. And I will be celebrating my successes. I don't care how small, I don't care how big. I'm going to celebrate them, because a lot of times we get so caught up in working hard that we don't realize how important it is to take a step back and, like look at all that we've done and where we started and where we've come since then. And sometimes I even like just think back to like when I was in private school when I was like a little bit younger, not for very long, because my parents like didn't want to keep driving there and going to school there. But yeah, but and then we started going to public school, and that was interesting. And I went to Catholic school, and I've seen many things in life. I've seen many things in this life I have, and all of that has led me to right where I am right now. And even last year, when things were dark and I was sitting on this podcast every week down bad, talking about my post-grad depression and all of that has led me to here. And I've accomplished goals that I didn't think I would have a year ago today. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the people who have been in my life. And I'm grateful. And I'm still learning, like I've talked about this, like I'm still trying to work on giving myself grace and what that looks like. And I have so much to learn from life, and life is teaching me so many things, and it's humbling me, and it's getting me prepared for whatever's next in life. And life is interesting right now. It's been hard all year, but it's interesting right now. So thank you guys if you listened. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping at the end of this week I'll have some pop culture stuff to talk about, because I need some fun in my life. I think what I really like about this podcast is that, yeah, I come on here and talk about my life because that's what's important to me. And yes, this is a passion project thing more so than it is like I'm trying to get so many views, but also I talk a lot about music and stuff on here and then off of here. And I talk about how I think that we're just missing, like, just having fun with stuff. And to me, I think a lost art in music right now is definitely just people putting out music that's fun, like doing something just for kicks, not necessarily for charts or to sell a bunch of records, but just doing stuff that's fun and collaborating. And I'm I think I'm seeing a little bit more of that, but not like a ton. But I I like that aspect of things, and I'm hoping to get to do that. And that's what I enjoy doing on this podcast, is just coming on here and talking about pop culture sometimes, and just doing stuff for the fun of it, because it's fun. Like, life is so serious all of the time, and everything is about being an adult and all of this stuff. And yeah, responsibilities and adulting and all that stuff and consequences to your actions are important things to acknowledge. But also, if you die in like 10 years from now and you look back and you're like, all I ever did was work hard and be serious, that's not fun. It's never too late to just get back to your roots and have fun. Like, I do stuff and have been doing stuff for the past like week or so that has just been like really healing to my inner child. Like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of us are just big kids. So like, and that means like rewatching Disney movies, like animated movies that you grew up watching. That means like watching your favorite shows growing up. That means listening to the music you listened to when you grew up and that feeling that nostalgic feeling. And like reflecting on the things that you've learned and even like, maybe talking and reaching out to people that you grew up with. Like, I don't know what extent that is, but or what that looks like for you. But it's really important that we do stuff that's fun. Like life doesn't have to be this serious, tight-knit, buttoned up thing. It doesn't always have to be that. And I hope that people don't think that it always has to be. But anyways, like I said, thank you guys for listening and watching this week if you did. Hopefully I'll be doing a lot of research this week for the pop culture stuff and we can have a fun, exciting episode because I want to have fun. Like, and I'm excited to come on here and do that. So I'll catch you guys on Saturday. Audio listeners, you already know audio is going to be on time at 7 a.m. The video will be following at some point. But yeah, I learned a lot this week about my job, and hopefully I'll get into that a little bit more as the months go on. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye. I love how I didn't clean. That's what's really crazy. I love that the clothes just sat there, but I'm gonna go and get on that right now because it's only like 6 p.m. now. So I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Bye.